Okay, good evening all. I heard today that the letter writing campaign that we've started is beginning to have cut through. So the MPs in Parliament were quite rattled, surprised by the march in terms of its size and in terms of the fact that you can no longer call this a metropolitan elite when you have 160 coaches from all over the country, when you see all types of people congregating in London in vast numbers. MPs really took notice of that. And then we followed this up immediately with the letter writing campaign. And I heard today that MPs are actually starting to talk to each other about, God, you know, it's really starting to hit their inboxes now. And the spin that we're putting on this at the moment, I mean, the angle that we're working is, we're tired, well, everyone's tired of all these, you know, template letters to MPs that you just email off. We're going old school on this one now. We're doing handwritten letters. And one of the things that I mentioned last time, which gives it a lovely touch, is send in pictures, send in bollocks to Brexit stickers. If you were on the march, send in printed out pictures of you on the march. You know, remember like you used to do years ago when you wrote letters to friends and would doodle on the side and would put in printed out pictures with it. Send all of those to your MP. Involve them in that so they can see who you are. If you weren't on the march, then just send a picture of yourself and your family and say, we're all concerned, you know, here we are, we're your constituents. That's the style and flavour that you want to be doing now. You want these constituency officers to have, you know, big Santa-like sacks stuffed full of letters that they have to fight through to read. You know, you want the Harry Potter effect when all the owls come in and all the letters are flying through the letterbox. That's what it's got to feel like, you know, really new, really different, really grabs their attention so that they feel that momentum gathering behind the people actually wanting to have a say on what the hell is coming back from all of this mess, because they sure as hell don't like Chequers and they sure as hell don't like the crash out Brexit. So given that you are committed, because I'm telling you, you've got to get committed to writing this letter, writing a physical letter with a pen and piece of paper, what should you write? Because some people are telling me that they've written in stuff already and they've sent in pictures already, and other people are telling me, you know, what they're planning to do, and that's all great. But for those of you that are still shy about it or have been asking, well, what should I write? Please tell me a template, or what are the best facts? Forget the facts. Forget, you know, I mean, I know scientists for EU, I've got my patter about how successful European science is. I've got my patter about the damage that's already been done with the NHS. I've got my patter about Brexit attacks the NHS from all angles, and these are what the threats are. This is factual stuff. Your MPs don't want to hear those facts. If they want to know the facts, they can go to tons of professional reports which will tell them about the facts if they care. If they care. But what they do care about is you. As their constituents, they care about you and how you feel and what you want. So make it genuine and make it personal. Here's something else that I'll say very bluntly. I've seen some right-wing people go around the march on Saturday doing filming of interviewing people and what they think about Brexit and trying to catch out all the kind of like the weakest ones and do a mashup of it. Don't try to do anything over clever here about repeating all the facts that you've heard, or make an over intellectual argument and over structured, especially when we're trying to keep up on a day-to-day basis. Here's what you need to do, and I wrote this down. What your MP wants to hear from you, and what you need to do for yourself, is develop your own clarification of what you're in this for, why you care. So for me, the 3 key points that you need to write down and clarify for yourself are: 1, what worries you most? What really worries you most? What bugs you most about what's happening at the moment? Answer that, write it 4 times over, different angles on it, until you think, yeah, that's it. That's really got it. Then the second one, how would you like this country to be? Switching to the positive now. If you were to fix this country, if you were to be Prime Minister and have all the money, how would you restructure it? What would you like it to look like on the local level, on the national level, in terms of how we work across Europe and in the world? How would you like our country to be? Just write a paragraph on that, then scratch it out, then write it again, get that clarified. And then the third one, what story in your life best illustrates why you feel this way about Europe? You know, so think through when it really sort of clicked to you that you're against Brexit or you're pro-European, and what illustrates that? What's the fundamental story behind it? Because, I mean, I'll tell you for me, I mean, my ex, who's the mother of my kids, she came to London on an EMBO grant, a European grant, and then I went out to Switzerland and then Slovenia for her, and the freedom of movement thing massively helped us both. And then when I was in Slovenia, I was trying desperately to get a local job. Eventually I did, but then, most importantly, I got onto an EU science programme grant that was multinational. So it had representatives of Spain and the UK and Slovenia where I was, and tons of other countries, and I was blown away by the fact that I could be in a tiny country of 2 million people and yet work on big scale science. And so my talent, as I saw it, was not like left in a little pool, but rather could work across that experience. And it was there that I met Professor Martin McKee, who was heading up the program that then became my long-term collaborator. And that was the route by which I could actually come back to London, still with those academic links, and then come back here and get a new job here. And that is pan-European collaboration. On the first programme I did, it was all about seeing the scale of EU science. On the second EU grant I did, that was ECHO, about comparing health systems like the NHS between all the different European countries, and thinking about how you can take best practice from one country and use it in another country to save more lives. Anyway, I won't prattle on about that, but I know my personal story when it kicked into me that, my God, this collaboration really works like nowhere else in the world. Look at the opportunity of it. So that's what you need to sort out for yourself. And these are your fundamental principles then, whenever anyone engages you in any debate. You personally, your story, you know why you are stressed out about how this is developing. You know what kind of Britain you would like to see, what that positive vision is. And you know from your personal history that you can tell anyone when it clicked to you that this is the direction that we need to go and this is the world that we need to build. When you've got that, that's what you write to your MP. You don't give them the standard spiel that they hear argued about on the news all the time. You tell them who you are. You open your soul and you put it down on paper for them, old school, written by your ink. And you know that gets through to people. You know that gets through to people. And you encourage your friends and your family to do the same. But if you're worried about starting that letter, you don't quite know how to do it. This is the first letter you've written in 10 years, say so. If you've never written to your MP before in any form, say so. Start. I don't know how to start, but now seems like a good time as any to write to you. I haven't written pen to paper like this for probably 15 years, but I just want you to know. Do that. And if you want to make sure that you actually do it, here's a fun thing. Get a group of friends round your house, open the bottle of wine, bring along the beers, put it in the fridge, right? And then you write this together. Like, you all sit round the table, you have your beers, you have your chat, but this way you make sure that together you get that postal address, together you get the pen and paper and envelopes, and you make sure you've got the stamps, together you make sure people don't go home until you're all done and it's all folded up, and then you kind of lick it, seal it, done. You've got your little pile of envelopes, then you've had a wicked evening with your friends, you've discussed all these issues, and together you've made sure that you've got the mission done. So before worrying about when am I going to start this, just call up your friends and say, shall we have a really good evening where we all catch up together, we crack open the booze or we have a little meal, but we make sure that we all do this letter writing. By the way, does any of you have a colour printer? Because I've got some wicked photos from the march. You know, whatever. Cook it up in your heads how you want to do it, but make an evening of it and then make sure you send it off together. That's the really lovely way to do it. And you know, MPs, we slag off politicians all the time, but they are real people like you and me, and they respond to other real people. So it's time to put aside a lot of the high-blown, fact-driven arguments and do the clarification that I just told you there before. It will be good for your soul, and it will be good for you to share that, how you think, just on one page or maybe 2 pages of A4 to your MP. Here's who I am in your constituency. Here's me, here's my family, here's my friends, here's what we're all thinking. This is what we'd like to see for our country. This is what we demand of you. At least let us have a say on what's coming back. At least that. Why would you deprive us of that? This is the kind of line that you want to go down. Please do it.